Hey everyone, welcome back to Miniature Painting 101, a series of videos where I teach you all about painting miniatures from start to finish and everything in between. And, like the other two videos, this is part 87, flesh, but this time bronzed flesh. In this video I'll be showing you how to paint flesh using the Reaper Triad for bronzed flesh. So of course today we'll be painting yet another cultist because there's so much skin on this guy, it's a great model to paint. And today we'll be using four colors: Chestnut Brown, Bronzed Shadow, Bronze Skin, and Bronzed Highlight, which is surprisingly light to me. I think it should be darker and closer to the bronze skin, but that's just my opinion. So as with the previous tutorial, the first color is going to be Chestnut Brown, which the goal of this color is just to provide a nice foundation because it's very close to the shadow color of this Reaper Triad. So we'll be using it just to give a nice solid foundation color, and we're going to keep this in the very deep recesses and the deep shadows of the model and build up kind of a zenithal appearance once again of colors. As we increase the color, we'll be increasing the basically the levels that we paint at. We'll be focusing more and more what the light source is hitting to the very top of the model eventually, just to highlights that of areas that we really want to paint. So I just took this paint and applied it directly from the palette directly onto the model. I didn't thin it down at all because Reaper uses very thin paints. Reaper tend to be the most thin paints that you can purchase. They're great for blending. So of course I give a nice solid coat, and I did have to do a very quick second coat in certain areas because they are thin. So it's good to make a nice solid even coat before proceeding to the second step. So as you can see, I'm just giving complete coverage over the entire model with the Chestnut Brown. And then I went on to Bronzed Shadow. Bronzed Shadow is a great color. As you see, it's very close to the Chestnut Brown. And for this area, I basically focus on all the model that isn't facing vertical. So any area that is basically exposed to the light, I'm going to go with the Bronze Shadow and just leave the deep recesses and the deep shadows to be the Chestnut Brown. As I said, the goal is to build up a zenithal approach as you paint this miniature. And the great thing, as I said, thin paints, so they tend to blend quite nicely. So you hypothetically could do like an infinite number of combinations of paint, build up the most perfect gradient. I'm just going to do these four colors essentially with a little bit of combination in one step. So as you can see, I'm just building up a nice layer of Bronze Shadow, leaving the Chestnut Brown in any area that's basically facing vertical. As you can see now, I'm just finishing up the face. And now it's time to go into Bronze Skin, the mid-tone color in the triad. And for this step, we're going to now go anywhere that's not a recess. So we're going a little bit less far down the model as we did the previous step. And anywhere that's raised, we're going to leave the recesses in those areas that we painted in the previous step. We're going to leave the recesses the tanned shadow, or the bronze shadow. And now we'll just go with the bronze skin on all the raised areas, building up the muscles. And with models like this, it's really easy to highlight up because you allow the musculature essentially to dictate where you want to highlight, since you just leave the crevices of the muscles the previous color and then build up the muscles, as you can see, one step at a time. Sometimes you need to kind of artificially manufacture those muscles, but in models like this, it's quite easy. Just allow them to dictate your highlights. So as you can see now, it's looking really a much lighter color. I do find this Bronze Triad to be a larger difference in color than the previous Miniature Painting 101, the tanned one, but it's still a great combination of colors for triads. I recommend it highly if you like painting skin tones. And I'm repeating this process on the back. Just take my time getting a nice gradient of colors. As you can see, I'm building up a nice gradient. As you can turn the model, you can see it. And then I added some bronzed highlights to a 1-to-1 mix of bronze skin and bronze highlight. As you notice, bronze highlight is much lighter, surprisingly. When I put on this coat, I kind of noticed that. It was, but the key is, once again, just to build it up in a zenithal approach. It will dry darker, and that's the key. So this one mix, I used to build the muscles even further towards where the light source is hitting. So I tend to focus on the muscles like the chest, his abs, the tops of his arms, his face, and the top of his back. But as you can see, it's significantly lighter than the previous steps. But as I said, it will dry a little bit darker. You could, if you would like, to actually stop after this step. I do find that this actually resulted in really nice bronzed skin tones, but the next step is just going to take it one little further and pick up on the specific details that you really want. So the final step, we're going to use bronzed highlight just by itself, and we're just going to pick up on certain details that we really want, like the tops of the hand, as you can see there, like the knuckles, the forearm, the temple, tops of his temple, his eyebrows, and like the top of his arm. Whatever detail you really want to pop, use this bronze highlight on. I don't recommend using it don't use it sparingly. You know, don't use it all over the model. Just pick it up and on certain areas that you really want it to stand out, and then leave the rest of them. I'm just going to focus on the muscles, once again allowing them to dictate where I highlight, like the bicep right here, his chest, his temple. Not too much on the model, because this step is going to be very bright. Just want to build a nice gradual gradient. You don't want it to be over highlighting, basically. Then we're doing the same thing on the back, just focusing on the very top parts that I really want to make them stand out. And as I said, this will also dry a little bit darker and more blended because it is a thin paint. And that's it. And when it was dry, here's what the model looked like. As you can see, it does blend a little bit better. It does dry darker, and it turned out cool. And this is essentially how to paint a bronzed flesh tone using the Reaper Triad for bronzed flesh. Just the key is build up a zenithal gradient, one color at a time, focusing on higher areas. So thank you as always for watching this episode of Miniature Painting 101. I really hope you enjoyed it and learned a bit about painting flesh. And stay tuned for next week's episode, part 88, which is just around the corner. But if you don't want to wait for next week, check out The Warp. Click on the link below for a free 14-day trial to my premium YouTube channel. We're not only going to see the next 6 months worth of Miniature Painting 101 episodes, you'll get to see over 80 start-to-finish painting tutorials, dozens of battle reports and face-off episodes, an Airbrush 101 series, and just tons of awesome wargaming content. I think you'll love it. So go ahead and check it out. Thank you as always for watching. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.